The average British family bins around £700 of perfectly good food every single year, scraping half-eaten dinners straight into the caddy. But sitting in your kitchen right now is a machine that could stop nearly all of it. Your freezer. Most of us treat it as a graveyard for ancient peas and one mystery bag from 2019. Used properly, it stretches a single weekly shop to last a fortnight. Number 14 on this list is something the big supermarkets quietly hope you never work out. And number 3 breaks every rule your mum ever taught you, yet it works better than the expensive version. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because this could genuinely halve your food bill. Let us count down the 25 smartest freezer tricks in Britain. Number 25. Freezing milk before it turns. That 2-pint bottle going off 3 days before you can drink it is money poured down the sink. And most people have no idea you can freeze it. Pour a little out first, because milk expands as it freezes and a full bottle will split. Then straight in the door it goes. It keeps for around 3 months and thaws perfectly in the fridge overnight. The fat separates slightly as it freezes, so give it a good shake once defrosted and it comes back together. Semi-skimmed and skimmed freeze best, with whole milk a touch grainier. At roughly £1.45 a bottle, a family buying milk that gets thrown away half-finished every week is binning the better part of £40 a year. Buy 3 when it's on offer, freeze 2, and never run dry on a Sunday morning again. Number 24. Open freezing berries on a tray. When raspberries and strawberries crash to £1 a punnet in summer, most people buy 2 and watch 1 turn to mush. The trick your nan never needed, but you do, is open freezing. Spread the fruit in a single layer on a baking tray, not touching, and freeze for 2 hours until solid. Then tip them into a freezer bag. Because each berry froze separately, they stay loose instead of welding into one pink brick. You can pour out a handful for porridge or a smoothie and leave the rest. Frozen straight from fresh, they hold far more flavour than the bags you buy. A glut of summer fruit at 90p a punnet becomes breakfast right through to Christmas, and you have paid a fraction of what frozen berries cost in February. Number 23. The grated cheese hack. A block of cheddar left in the fridge sweats, hardens at the edges, and grows a green jacket before you finish it. So grate the lot the day you buy it. Tip the gratings into a bag with a teaspoon of corn flour, give it a shake so the strands stay separate, and freeze flat. It keeps 3 months and goes straight from frozen onto a jacket potato, into a cheese sauce, or under the grill on toast. You will never grate cheese on a Tuesday night again. A mature cheddar block at around £3.50 stretches across a month of meals instead of being half-binned. And the corn flour trick means you scoop out exactly what you need without chiseling at a frozen lump. Number 22. Freezing eggs out of the shell. Eggs do not freeze in the shell, the contents expand and crack it, but crack them into a tray and they freeze beautifully. Beat each egg lightly, pour into an ice cube tray, and once solid, pop them into a bag. 1 cube equals roughly 1 egg. For baking, you barely notice the difference. When eggs are on a yellow sticker reduction, or you've a box nearing its date, this saves the lot. During the egg shortages a couple of winters back, the families who knew this trick had a freezer drawer full while the shelves sat empty. Label them, because a frozen egg cube and a frozen stock cube look identical at 7 in the morning, and that is a mistake you only make once. Number 21. Herbs in olive oil. That bunch of fresh basil or coriander wilts to black slime in the salad drawer within 4 days, which is why most of us just buy dried. Instead, chop the herbs, pack them into an ice cube tray, and top each compartment with olive oil before freezing. The oil locks out the air that turns herbs brown and protects the flavour far better than freezing them dry. Drop a frozen cube straight into a hot pan and it melts into the base of a bolognese or a curry in seconds. A 90p supermarket herb pot that normally yields 2 uses suddenly lasts months. Rosemary, thyme, sage and parsley all take to it. It is the closest thing to having a herb garden without the slugs. Number 20. Freezing leftover wine. Nobody pours away wine on purpose, but that inch left in the bottle goes vinegary by morning, so it gets tipped down the sink. Pour it into an ice cube tray instead. Frozen wine cubes are gold for cooking, a splash of red into a stew or gravy, a white cube to deglaze a pan for a creamy chicken sauce. They keep their character for months. The same works for that last dribble of double cream curdling in the fridge, frozen in cubes and dropped straight into soups and sauces. Suddenly, the dregs of a 7-pound bottle become the secret depth in a dozen midweek dinners, and you stop buying those little tins of cooking wine that cost more than the drinking sort. Number 19. Bananas for baking. We have all watched a bunch go from green to leopard print to fruit fly magnet in the space of a week. Do not bin the black ones. Peel them, pop them whole into a bag, and freeze. They turn dark and slushy, which looks alarming but is exactly what you want, because overripe banana is sweeter and mashes to a puree straight from frozen. One thawed banana is banana bread waiting to happen, or a free sweetener for a smoothie. A bunch costs about 80 pence, and the ones that would have gone in the bin become a Sunday afternoon loaf instead. Bakers who hoard frozen bananas never buy them specially for baking again. The fruit that everyone throws away becomes the very thing recipes ask you to seek out. Number 18. First pattern break. Here is where it gets clever. Batch cooking and freezing in flat bags. This is the single trick that turns one shop into 2 weeks of dinners. When you make a chili, a curry, a bolognese or a stew, make triple. Cool it. Ladle it into freezer bags. And here is the bit most people miss. Lay the bags flat to freeze rather than standing them up. A flat frozen bag stacks like a book, thaws in half the time because of the surface area, and 3 of them take the space 1 tub would. A Sunday afternoon of cooking fills the freezer with 10 ready dinners. On a night you are shattered, you defrost 1 bag while the rice cooks. The maths is brutal. Buying mince in bulk at the butcher and cooking it down works out at well under £1 a portion, against 4 or 5 quid for a ready meal that tastes of cardboard. Number 17. Butter in the freezer. Butter is one of the few things that freezes with no loss of quality whatsoever, yet almost nobody does it. When it drops to 99 pence a block on offer, buy 6 and freeze 5. It keeps for a year. Frozen butter is also a secret weapon for pastry. You grate it straight from the freezer into the flour, and it stays in cold flecks that steam in the oven, giving you flakier short crust than you could ever achieve with soft butter. Bakers who make crumble and pastry swear by it. Stocking up when the price drops, instead of paying full whack in the lean weeks, is exactly the kind of quiet thrift that ran the post-war kitchen. Only now, your nan's pantry is a frozen drawer. Number 16. Portioning raw mince before it freezes. Most people shove the whole supermarket tray straight in the freezer, then face an immovable £2 block when they only wanted enough for 2. Instead, the moment you get home, split the mince into meal-sized portions, flatten each one inside a sandwich bag, and freeze the thin slabs. A flat patty of mince thaws in 20 minutes under a cold tap, against half a day for a solid lump. You take out precisely what you need and leave the rest untouched, so nothing gets refrozen. Buying the big value packs of mince and breaking them down this way costs 1/3 less per meal than the small trays, and that saving, repeated every week, is the difference between a shop lasting 7 days and lasting 12. Number 15. Freezing bread the right way. A large loaf goes stale in 3 days, and stale bread is Britain's most binned food by a mile. Freeze it the day you buy it, but slice it first. Frozen slices come out 1 or 2 at a time and go straight into the toaster from frozen. No thawing, no waiting, and they toast up, tasting fresher than a 3-day-old loaf ever could. The crumb is protected from the air that turns bread to a brick. Crusty rolls, crumpets, pitta and bagels all take to it. A bakery loaf at £1.40 that you'd normally throw 1/3 of away now gets eaten down to the last slice. Keep a bag of the heels and ends too, blitzed from frozen. They make breadcrumbs for a fish pie topping in seconds. Number 14. The stock bag. Here is the one the supermarkets would rather you didn't know, because they sell you stock cubes and cartons for the very thing you are about to throw in the bin. Keep a bag in the freezer and feed it your vegetable scraps, onion skins, carrot peelings, celery ends, the woody bits of leeks, plus any chicken carcass from a roast. When the bag is full, tip the lot into a pot, cover with water, and simmer for an hour. You have made stock for nothing from waste you'd have binned anyway. Freeze the finished stock in cubes or flat bags. A roast chicken carcass that most people put straight in the wheelie bin holds enough flavour for 2 pots of soup. That is several pounds a month back in your pocket, conjured from rubbish, exactly the way the old kitchens never wasted a scrap. Number 13. Freezing chopped onions. Half an onion in the fridge dries out, makes the whole compartment reek, and gets thrown away within days. Chop your onions in bulk instead, while you've got the chopping board out and the tears flowing, then freeze them flat in a bag. Frozen onion goes straight into a hot pan, no defrosting, and softens just the same as fresh. Perfect for the base of almost every dinner. You will never again cry over a single onion on a Tuesday. It also means you can take advantage of those netted bags of onions for £1 when buying loose costs 3 times as much. The same works for peppers, chili, and ginger. 10 minutes of chopping on a Sunday saves you the faff every single night for a fortnight. Number 12. Cooked rice, safely frozen. People are nervous about freezing rice, and there is a real rule here, but get it right and it transforms midweek cooking. The key is to cool the rice fast, within an hour of cooking, spread thin on a tray, then bag and freeze straight away. Never leave it sitting out for hours first. Reheated piping hot from frozen, in the microwave or a pan with a splash of water, it is steaming in 3 minutes. You make a big batch once, freeze it in portions, and skip the 20-minute wait every other night. Those microwave rice pouches the shops sell for £1.30 a go? You are paying for a pence worth of rice and a clever bit of plastic. A bag of basmati, cooked and frozen yourself, costs almost nothing per serving. Number 11. Freezing leftover gravy and sauces. The jug of gravy left after Sunday lunch gets poured away, and so does the half tin of tomato puree that grows mold in the fridge before you open it again. Freeze both. Gravy goes into an ice cube tray and drops into the next batch for instant depth. Tomato puree, frozen in teaspoon blobs on a tray then bagged, means you take exactly 1 spoonful, and the rest doesn't fur over. Coconut milk, leftover passata, pesto, all the same. These half-used jars and tins are a hidden drain, a quid here and there that adds up to a small fortune over a year. The freezer turns every awkward leftover into a labelled, portioned ingredient waiting for its moment, which is precisely how a clever kitchen wastes nothing. Number 10. Blanching vegetables before freezing. Here is where a lot of people go wrong. They freeze raw veg, and it comes out mushy and grey. The fix is blanching, a quick plunge into boiling water for 2 or 3 minutes, then straight into ice-cold water to stop the cooking. This zaps the enzymes that would otherwise turn the veg to slime in the freezer. Green beans, broccoli, carrots, peas from a glut, all hold their colour and bite for a year once blanched and bagged. When the greengrocer or the market has a tray of veg going cheap at the end of the day, you can buy the lot, blanch a Sunday's worth, and freeze the rest. It is exactly the resourcefulness of a generation who grew their own and refused to let a single runner bean go to waste. Number 9. Freezing leftover roast meat. After a roast, the picked over joint usually does 1 round of sandwiches and then sits forgotten until it has to go. Slice or shred the leftover meat the same day, portion it, and freeze flat. Frozen roast chicken thaws for a curry, a pie filling, or a risotto. Beef becomes the heart of a ragu. Even the dribs and drabs of several roasts can go in one labelled bag marked simply meat for soup. A joint that fed the family on Sunday quietly provides 3 more meals across the month instead of being binned on Wednesday. This is the dripping jar instinct of the old kitchens reborn, the absolute refusal to let a hard-bought piece of meat go to waste when the freezer can hold it for you. Number 8. Freezing milk's posh cousins, cream and cheese sauce. We covered milk, but the trick goes further. Double cream whips and freezes in piped rosettes on a tray for instant dessert toppings. White sauce and cheese sauce, the base of every lasagna and fish pie, freeze in portions and save you standing over the hob stirring on a school night. The thing nobody tells you is that a sauce sometimes splits slightly on thawing, so just whisk it hard as it reheats and it comes back smooth. A pint of cream at £1.10 that would have soured in the fridge becomes a fortnight of puddings. Making a big batch of cheese sauce once and freezing 4 portions turns the most fiddly part of a midweek bake into a 30-second job. Number 7. The yellow sticker raid. Second pattern break, and this one's a strategy rather than a single food. Every supermarket marks down its fresh food at the end of the day. Meat, fish, bread, ready meals, all slashed to a fraction of the price because it's near its date. The catch is, you can't possibly eat it all before it turns, unless you freeze it. A reduced joint of beef, a tray of fish fillets at 90p, a marked down loaf, all go straight in the freezer the moment you get home and keep for months. Shoppers who learn their local store's markdown time, usually early evening, fill their freezers with premium food at budget prices. It is the single biggest saving on this list. A reduced shop, frozen properly, genuinely makes one trip stretch to 2, because you've banked a freezer full of dinners for pennies on the pound. Number 6. Freezing bacon in rolls. A pack of bacon, once opened, sweats and slimes within days, and the rest goes off. Most people freeze the whole pack and then can't separate the slices without a chisel. Instead, roll each rasher into a little curl, lay the curls on a tray to open freeze, then bag them. You pull out 2 rashers for a sandwich and leave the rest, no welded block. The same logic works for sausages, frozen apart so you take exactly what you need. A pack of bacon at £2.20 that would normally see half thrown away now lasts a month of weekend fry-ups. It is the difference between bacon being an occasional treat and bacon always being there, banked in the drawer, waiting for a Saturday morning. Number 5. Freezing cake and sponge. Third pattern break. People assume baking has to be eaten fresh, but cake freezes magnificently, arguably better than it keeps in a tin. A Victoria sponge, slices of fruitcake, leftover birthday cake, all wrap in foil and freeze for months, thawing in an hour on the counter, tasting exactly as it did the day it was baked. The freezing actually locks in the moisture so it never dries out. You can bake a double batch when you've the oven on anyway and freeze half. Unexpected guests? A frozen sponge thaws faster than the kettle boils for a brew. A homemade cake costs a fraction of a shop-bought one and freezes far better, which means the days of an iced supermarket sponge going stale and hard after one slice are over for good. Number 4. Freezing mashed potato. This one surprises everyone, because reheated mash is usually a disaster. The secret is to mash it richer than normal, with plenty of butter and a splash of cream or milk, because the fat protects the texture through freezing. Portion it, freeze flat, and reheat gently with an extra knob of butter, and it comes back creamy, not grainy. It also pipes straight from soft onto a cottage pie before the freezer, so you've a complete meal ready to bake from frozen. Potatoes are pennies, but the time saved is the real prize. When you're peeling spuds for a Sunday roast, peel double and freeze a batch of mash. It turns the most cooked, most tedious side dish in Britain into something you make once and pull out a dozen times. Number 3. The double bag flat stack system. Here is the trick that breaks every rule your mum taught you about a tidy freezer, because she stacked everything upright in tubs and it was chaos. Instead, freeze nearly everything flat in bags. Then once solid, file them upright like records in a crate. You can read every label, see exactly what you have, and a fortnight's dinners fit in a drawer that used to hold 3 sad tubs. The flat shape also thaws in half the time. Pair it with a simple rule, a marker pen and the date on every single bag, the way the old kitchens penciled notes in the margins of recipe books. A freezer you can actually see into is a freezer that nothing rots in the back of. Most household food waste happens because things vanish into the depths. This system means nothing ever does. Number 2. Freezing in oven-ready portions. Not everyone has time to thaw, and this is where the freezer truly earns its keep. Assemble whole meals raw, freeze them, and cook them from frozen. No defrosting at all. A homemade pie, a tray of marinated chicken, a fish pie with its mash topping, all go from freezer to hot oven with nothing but a longer cooking time. The trick is to slightly undercook anything that was cooked first, so it doesn't dry out on reheating. A Sunday afternoon assembling 4 freezer-to-oven dinners means 4 nights you walk in, switch the oven on, and put your feet up. This is batch cooking taken to its logical end, and it is the closest a modern kitchen comes to the old pressure cooker magic. Cheap ingredients transformed by a bit of planning into proper meals with almost no effort on the night. And finally, number 1. The crisp and crumb topping bank. The humblest trick crowns the list because it costs nothing and rescues everything. Keep 2 bags in the freezer door, one for breadcrumbs and one for crushed crisps and crackers, and feed them every stale heel of bread, every half-eaten packet of crisps gone soft, every broken cracker at the bottom of the tin. Blitzed and frozen, they wait. A handful of frozen breadcrumbs makes a golden topping for a fish pie or a crumb coating for chicken. Crushed crisps over a shepherd's pie give that salty crunch that makes children eat their tea. It is the exact spirit that ran the post-war kitchen, the refusal to throw away a single scrap when it could be saved and put to use. Nothing wasted, everything banked. The whole philosophy of stretching one shop into 2, captured in 2 little bags in the freezer door. So here is my challenge. Pick one this week. Just one. Freeze your milk before it turns, start a stock bag, batch cook a chili into flat freeze bags, or raid the yellow stickers and bank a freezer full of dinners. Then come back and tell me how much you saved, because I tested every one of these and my shopping bill has not been the same since. Drop a comment and tell me which trick you're trying first. Your nan knew how to make nothing go to waste. Now your freezer can do it for you.